welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a minute. It's going to be a 4-part series because there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to break it down into what the 4 parts are going to be. So part 1, talking about my personal experience with surgery. I'm going to be talking about 10 things I wish I knew before having surgery, or maybe I think some of these facts I knew before surgery, but I feel like it's very important for others to know as well. The next video I will be talking about cost, all the factors you need to kind of think of before booking the surgery. There is so much to talk about cost wise, so many like hidden costs that you don't even realize. I'll be answering questions from this first video, so you can ask any questions down below and I will answer them in the next video. And then number 3 of the series, we'll be talking about lipedema management and ways you can manage the condition. Also keep note that I am not a specialist, so whatever works for me might not work for you, but I think there's some things that are like harmless to try, you know, such as an anti-inflammatory diet. You can always try it for 2 weeks, try it out. If it doesn't work out, not your thing, that's fine. There are some like small changes that you can make that could definitely make your life a whole bunch easier, so I will be doing a video on like things that I do for management. And then the 4th video I won't be posting until July. It'll be a year update after surgery, and I'll kind of give you the full results, because you don't have full results until a whole year after surgery. You're constantly changing, your body's constantly changing, so I will not be doing that video until the whole year has passed. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think it's really important to talk about lipedema and what it actually is, because you might not actually know what it is. You might just watch my videos in general, or maybe you have a friend that has lipedema and you want to learn more about it. So let's get to the definition, and I'll link all the sources down below. I'm not just pulling this out of my butt. Lipedema is a long-term chronic condition of fat and connective tissue which builds up in your legs, hips, bottom, and sometimes arms. It affects both sides of the body equally. It's more common in women and only very rarely affects men. Following into that is a question that gets asked a lot, is basically what causes lipedema. The exact cause of lipedema is unknown, but the condition runs in families and may be inherited. The condition occurs almost exclusively in people assigned female at birth and usually starts or gets worse at the time of puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. For me, it was puberty. So at the age of like 12, 13 is when I got it. Let's start the video. I've got my tea, I've got my notes. Let's get into 10 things I wish I knew before surgery. I'm going to get in depth with these, which is why I've made a long video about this. Number 1. Be prepared. Bring extra items, even to the hospital. Have extra savings, extra compressions, maybe multiple kinds of compressions like Bioflex or the flat knit or some other kind of compression, just in case the one that you had for after surgery doesn't fit right or doesn't work out. Because I had a pair of flat knits, kind of underwear seam. These were flat knits and they cost me $900, and I couldn't wear them after surgery because I was wrapped in bandages up until day 5. And then day 5, when I saw my surgeon before I was about to leave, she helped me put my compressions on, and when I was flying home, I got home, I was getting comfy in them, they started to kind of make an indent in my legs. And your legs are so easily molded, if that makes sense. Like, you can easily mold them if you do something. If you wear really tight underpants or something like that, I feel like it's really easy to kind of mold the shape of your buttocks if you do that. I kind of had like a underwear indent, so I had to change out of my flat knits into a pair of Bioflex, and it smoothed out pretty fast, so I'm very, very lucky. Also with my bandages, I'll leave a photo here, trigger warning if you get a bit queasy. My first night home, I had the bandages wrapped around me and it was cutting into my leg, and I will leave the image right here. It was extremely painful. I think I called my poor surgeon at like 9 p.m, 10 p.m. at night, and I was like, it is unbearable. And I was messaging another person who also had surgery with a surgeon, and she was like, cut it, you need to cut it, you need to cut it right now. I know you think it's not the right thing to do, cut it and then try and rewrap it if you can. So I tried to salvage as much bandage as I could. There was not really much save in it, but I think it's better than it being wrapped and creating a massive bulge at the back of your leg, because that could be permanent and it's something that you should worry about if it happens. So don't hesitate to reach out to your surgeon if that does happen. I actually had some very lovely ladies at Lipoedema Australia, shout out to them, who came and helped me put these extra wraps over my compressions, and it helped so much. I actually kept them until the 8-week mark and then sent them back. I'm very, very grateful, because who knows what would happen to my legs if they didn't reach out and come and help me. I have extra savings because when I went, so nothing was covered by Medicare or anything, all of it was out of pocket. And when you go to the hospital, they kind of tell you and let you know that there could be extra fees after the surgery. Maybe something happened, maybe, you never know. So always, always, always have extra savings. I cannot stress it enough. Like, you need to have extra funds and not just scrape the barrel, because if something bad happens, like at least in Australia where I live, at the time I didn't have private health and I was at a private hospital, so a little risky. Let's get to number 2. Is it anaesthetist? The person who does your anesthetic. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let them know if this is your first time you've had anesthetic, or if you're reactive to anesthetic, if you're really sensitive. Because me, they were rolling me out to get surgery and they were like, it's just the entree, so this is like a little bit like until we give you the main course. We're going to give you more later, but this is just like to get you tired. No, he's rolling me in. I'm out, and I didn't wake up until, I think I went in at 8:30, and I don't think I woke up until 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I can't quite remember. I woke up to them wrapping my legs and I was like, oh my goodness, this hurts so badly. And my first instinct, I shot up and I started vomiting on the person next to me. I feel really bad, but I also didn't know how I was going to react on anesthetic, and honestly I didn't care at this point. I was in so much pain, and I was also shaking uncontrollably. Look, I have a dog who has epilepsy and I have seen her have seizures. I 100% thought I was having a seizure because nothing could come out of my mouth. I couldn't communicate, I couldn't talk. I was so cold and I was just shaking. My eyes were open. I'm looking at everyone and I'm like so terrified. So they put a heat blanket on me and they're basically taking it on and off, on and off, on and off, because I kept overheating and then getting cold and then overheating, getting cold. And then they also gave me a painkiller. This is another thing. If you are sensitive to painkillers, please tell your surgeon or anything. I had no idea that I was really sensitive, because the second they gave me a painkiller, I started vomiting again. So a little bit of a nightmare, but at least I know now, rather than guess later on in the future, because maybe if I was to get a more serious procedure done, like if I was to get the liposuction plus the loose skin removal, who knows, it could have been much more of a nightmare than this one. Make sure you let them know if it's your first time, because they will make sure that they do everything in their best power to make you feel comfortable and give you the right dose. Number 3, I feel like this is a given, but walking is extremely hard. I was planning by day 3 I would be walking in the park down the road. Absolutely not. So make sure that you have a lot of lower body leg strength before you have this surgery, and upper body strength, because you need to work to get yourself up. I struggled so hard walking. I did loops around our Airbnb, and sitting on the toilet was like, I would avoid going to the toilet. I would try so hard and be like, I'll wait another hour. Prepare for walking to be extremely hard. Don't expect to be running laps by day 3 like I did for some reason. This leads me on to point 4. Make sure that your accommodation is close to the hospital if you're traveling. So what happened with my accommodation is I was close to the hospital, but too close to where you couldn't catch an Uber, but too far for me to walk. So the hospital let me lend a wheelchair, and you can always ask, because I think a lot of the time they're really nice and they will let you lend a wheelchair. So my mum wheeled me to the Airbnb, and then she took the wheelchair back for me, because I had my surgery in Melbourne. There are a lot of hills and it's kind of on a slight incline. If I was to fall, that would have not been fun. Number 5, this kind of leads into the next thing, is make sure you have 1 to 2 people to help you, because maybe that one person will have to do some work during the day or something like that, or go grocery shopping. Make sure you have 1 to 2. I think 2 is better than 1, obviously, because you need assistance sometimes if you're going to the toilet, depending on the situation of the toilet. Also, you might need help with your hair. You might need someone to help you wash your hair. You might need someone to help you get up. You know, there are many things. I had to ask my mum to help cut me out of those bandages at an ungodly hour. I remember like I woke up again at like 2 a.m. and the bandages started cutting into me again, so my mom's like helping me at 2 a.m. cut these bandages. Always really important to have someone there, or 2 people there, just in case, because you will need that assistance, even like just walking, just to hold on to someone in case, because you don't want to fall on those very sensitive legs. Number 6, drink lots of water once you're out. What happens is those legs are full of fluid, and lots of it. But to drain the fluid out, you're going to need to be drinking lots of water, and let me tell you, you pee a lot. You're going to need to pee so often, because also with the compressions, it's an absolute hassle taking off those compressions to go to the toilet, but your legs are going to be looking so good once they start draining out. So make sure you stay hydrated, because I think that's also a very important factor in recovery. Number 7, this is something I wasn't expecting. My legs, I still haven't gotten them back to the strength that they used to be before surgery, so your legs will not be as strong as they used to be. I don't think I went back to the gym until the 8-week mark because I had quite a bit of like bruising still. I didn't want to be around other people at the gym just in case, like, I don't know why, I'm like, just in case I run into something or someone nudges my leg, I don't want to be in that situation. I went back to the gym at 8-week mark and I tried to do a squat, and I used to be able to do like 60 kilos, which still isn't like a huge amount, but now I think I'm at like 40 kilos, but my first week back at the gym I was only doing 20. My legs were so weak and I still can't do a hip thrust as heavy as I used to. Number 8, prepare for unevenness, little bumps, little crevices from where they remove the fat, and scars. Just keep in mind the surgery is to improve the quality of your life, not to make you look like a snatched Kim Kardashian goddess. Your body will be more proportionate and you'll probably feel a lot better, you'll feel a lot more proportionate. Also, like, you get bumps, you get scars, like that's just a risk you take with the surgery. I have a few bumps. I have, obviously with lipedema, I already had like the aggressive cellulite, so that really wasn't a huge issue for me because I knew that that's something I already had, so I didn't care if I had like some after surgery as well. But I feel like a lot of people expect to kind of look like they had a BBL or something after the procedure, which is not the case at all. Number 9, this is something maybe you do know and maybe I just didn't know, but basically after surgery I was kind of stressing about going to my first lymphatic drainage massage because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to take off those compressions and it's gonna be so painful. Well, fun fact, you can do your drainage massage in your compressions. They will do it. They should do it, because I couldn't imagine the pain of having to take those compressions off, because sometimes you have to wear them for multiple days in a row. Sorry, not sorry. I think I wore my compressions for the longest, was like 4 days in a row. Those compressions hurt and I could not think of anything worse than rolling those down and taking them off and then putting them back on. Nothing worse. If you have been stressing about that, don't worry. You can ask your lymphatic drainage masseuse to do the massage in your compressions and they should comply. If they don't, I would be a little bit concerned. Number 10, and this one is pretty important. If you do not take care of yourself after the surgery, if you go back to bad habits, overeating, eating maybe foods that inflame your lipedema, fat can store in different places in your body. So instead it can go to your stomach, which is a way worse place for the fat to store. So be very, very careful after surgery because it can go elsewhere. For me personally, I have lipedema fat in my thighs and my arms, and that's it. Like, I still have lipedema fat in my thighs. We estimated, well, at least the previous surgeon that I saw that I didn't go with, they estimated, I think, 15 liters. So I had 8.3 removed. So I feel like there's only like a little bit left to go if I was to have another procedure, but I would need the loose skin removal in that case because I already have a little bit of loose skin right now. I'm now going to talk about some speed facts that I feel like you should know. Really important, my surgeon actually said this to me before surgery, and I think it's a really important point. The lipedema removal surgery is not a weight loss surgery. You should not treat it as a weight loss surgery. You should treat it as a tool to basically have a second chance to maintain your lipedema at a lower stage, because like a lot of things come into play with the growth of your lipedema. Like, you could be going through depression and not taking care of yourself. You could just not know that you had it and just got to the point where it got out of control and you had no idea and you thought it was just your body, because I totally understand. That's how I got to stage 2, early stage 3. Next point is be careful of how much you go into the sun with your fresh scars, because the last thing you want is to be in the sun and have the scars exposed like for long periods of time, and then they get really, really dark and they're extra visible. And I have quite a few scars around my legs, so careful with the scars darkening within the first year after surgery. I think after that it's fine to go out in the sun with them, but sometimes when I'm going out in the sun I put a little band-aid over them, like the little round ones, just to keep them nice and covered. The point, if you're looking to get surgery, make sure you look around at different surgeons, different lymphatic therapists. You're not going to mesh along with every surgeon you see. Maybe you don't see eye to eye, and that's okay. Go see another specialist. Also be careful when it comes to going overseas for surgery. Do lots and lots of research. Personally, I don't think I would like to leave the country for surgery, but that's just my personal preference because I feel a lot more safer in Australia and being with our healthcare system. Another point that is extremely obvious, compressions are so important and honestly make my legs feel great. It feels like I'm floating on a little cloud. Make sure you're wearing your compressions even without the surgery. Please wear them because they really do help, and I find that they make my legs look so skinny. If you're walking, even going in on an incline or like doing a light jog, my legs feel so freaking light. Very important, and make sure you're keeping up to wearing them, especially after surgery. So I recommend, if you're getting surgery, I know beggars can't be choosers, so I know sometimes you can't pick when you get it done because some surgeons are so fully booked, but I recommend getting it done at the start of winter, so then you can wear those compressions all up until summertime. Summertime comes around, maybe you only have lipedema fat from your knees up. You can get these compressions for summertime and they go up to your knees. Best lifesavers for when I had surgery. So I had surgery end of June, which in Australia is winter for us. So I wore these shorts for the summertime. Sometimes I didn't. It helped me so much because wearing those compressions during summer, I know some people say that doesn't bother them, but it's hot. It's really hot, especially if you go out for walks often out in the sun. You really do feel the extra layer. So I recommend investing in a pair of the shorts if you're just getting the thighs done, and then wear those in the summertime. And for the winter, you can wear the full compressions when you're recovering. I feel like there was some other points that I wanted to mention, but I can't think at the top of my head right now. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And if I think of any other points, I will put them down in the comments or put it in the description. And if you have any other points that you felt like was really important after surgery, comment down below and we'll have a discussion. So I will see you guys in the next video, which will be on Monday the following week, where I will be talking about the cost of surgery and all of that good stuff. So make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss out, because this is going to be a long series and a lot of these are going to be very long videos. So I hope you enjoy the series and I will see you next Monday. Bye.